Rebecca, assignment 2 looks really good. Now let's take a close look at assignment 3. First, transparency. I like the way you're playing with varied degrees of transparency. I'm wondering whether the slender bars in the center could be evenly spaced, and also whether there might be an even amount of white border all the way around this design. Now let's look at depth. I want to talk about the theory with regard to depth. Notice that both light shapes and saturated ones come forward. So to a degree, you've got a couple of competing factors here. It's good that the darkest shapes are toward the rear because darker shapes tend to recede. Now, looking at vibration, you do have a warm and a cool color, and they are saturated. When I use a grayscale test, I see that the value is not the same between the two colors, and if it were, that would increase the vibration effect. Hi Jeff, your assignment 2 looks pretty good. However, I would take the area of overlap on the right and switch it with the one in the center so that you meet the assignment guidelines. Now, in assignment 3, transparency looks good. I tried to discourage people from using effects. In this case, I think it's minimal and it's working for you. Now, pardon me, with your depth design, I initially thought that was another vibration, perhaps an earlier version or something. And I see what you're doing, and it does work to an extent. However, notice that we've got competing ideas near to one another in the same vicinity. Let's look to the center. So the blue is saturated, and that's moving forward. Even if it's a cool color, it's going to tend to move forward if it is saturated. And the red, and that encircles it, is desaturated and dark. So it's kind of a conundrum you've created for us. Now, on the other hand, I see you've got vibration here. Value is very constant. You've got what's probably an ambiguous color and then a cool one. Jeff, this assignment 2 looks quite good. I guess if there were any thing to say about it, might be that the area of the red verticals above the green band seems to be shorter than that below. Catherine, your assignment 2 looks quite good. The effect is subtle, and that's because your colors are similar. With assignment 3, it would be better if these were submitted separately. In particular, having no space between the designs makes them hard to look at. The transparency piece is quite beautiful. With depth, there are problems owing to the color theory not working with other ideas to do with depth. For example, small shapes appear to be far away. So when you use a light saturated color, even if it is cool, it will tend to advance in comparison to a darker desaturated color, which here you've used for the larger shapes, which in some ways seem to be closer. Now, with vibration, I'd like you to revisit the definition. Hi, Nagina. Assignment 2 looks quite good, except there should be some degree of transparency apparent with each area of overlap, and I don't see any with the rightmost area. Now, with assignment 3, transparency looks quite good here. I especially like that central yellow band that overlaps 3 other areas. I noticed that it doesn't extend at top and bottom the same distance. It looks similar, but I checked it, and it should be, or it could be, exact. Now, looking at depth, well, it does appear that you're desaturating the color. However, dark things tend to recede. Light things tend to advance. So we've got a little bit of a conflict going on here. Also, I suggested to people not to make shapes transparent, as that tends to confuse the stacking order. I see that all the colors you've used in your vibration example are fully saturated, and this resembles the sample in some ways. When I use the grayscale test, I find that the values are not all constant, a condition that should increase the vibration effect. Shannon, this is good work with your assignment 2. Um, Maybe the interval could be adjusted between the leftmost area of overlap and the other two. Now, looking at assignment 3, first you have vibration there. And I would say, while your colors are saturated, and there are warm and cool ones, there are probably too many colors for a good vibration design. Um, Also, the best solution would probably be one where the colors were constant in value, and when I subject this to a grayscale test, I find that's not the case. Well, with transparency, you have the basic idea. Perhaps the design could be honed a little. Notice that the vertical bars could be equally spaced. Also, I would like you to take the directions in the strict sense. In other words, when they say rectangles only, no ovals and no roughly drawn rectangles, for example, as we see in the depth design, the color is working for you in the depth design. Hi, Jamie. You've got the effect we're looking for in assignment 2. I would say just mind your spacing. It appears you didn't use the template. And I see, for example, that the 3 vertical bars aren't evenly spaced and there's more room to the right than there is to the left of the grouping. Now, looking at assignment 3, well, transparency is okay. It just would be nice to see you do something really interesting with the concept. Once more, spacing could be used to advantage. With the depth design, well, the color theory idea is working for you. However, this was to be a design made of rectangles only. Now, if you build something with rectangles, such as what's happened with the vibration design, I think that's okay. And some might say that the ends of the rectangles that are building square shapes or the empty rectangles ought to match up neatly, but I think you can do something kind of fun when they don't, which is what's going on here. Check this for constant value, and I see that the colors are very close in value. Marie, this is good work on your assignment 2. I would say just center that blue band and make sure there's equal amounts of extra space on right and left of the total design. Your transparency piece for assignment 3 looks very good. I like the way the blue bars look to be over and the green bar looks to be behind. Vibrations next, and that's okay, yet value is not constant. And with a depth design, well, you've got the basic idea and the color theories working for the most part, but the transparency factor is making the design a little hard to follow. Hi, Heather, your assignment 2 looks good. The effect's subtle because your colors are similar. Now, transparency, what a lovely piece. And depth looks good too. Simple as it is, it works. With vibration, I'm glad to see a little twist on the stripes idea. For the most part, the colors are similar in value. Julia, assignment 2 looks quite good. Maybe the interval could be adjusted with the areas of overlap. Transparency is a very clever design. Um, Depth seems as though the green comes forward. With vibration, I guess you've got a cool color and an ambiguous one, and the effect is good. However, could the design be a little more complex? Amanda, assignment 2 looks good, and you've got some nice ideas for assignment 3. I'd say with transparency and otherwise beautiful design, maybe things could just be centered. Notice there's a little extra light blue at the bottom there to the top. With depth, things work. With vibration, it might be the value could be a little more constant.